Hey everyone, it's Jamie from Independence Street, NOLA, and Season's Ritual. And I'm here sitting in New Orleans, freezing with the world's worst background. But we're going to talk about Pisces season. The sun went into Pisces late yesterday. The moon is in Sagittarius. It's in its last quarter moon. And this is a really what I love about this is we hit Pisces season, and then the moon is still finishing up her cycle from Aquarius. And so it gives us a couple days, it gives us a time to kind of just flow into Pisces, which works well with Pluto in Aquarius. When Pluto was in Capricorn, everything wanted to end, begin, end, begin, end, begin, because that's how Capricorn works. It's that beautiful earth sign of work. But even now, our sweet, sweet sea goat um, is starting to be, as we said, a little more sea than mountain goat. So we're starting to get more into this flow, understand this flow. And this is a beautiful time now because we're moving into Pisces season. This came to me this morning because I was on YouTube last night and I was looking at some videos, and it was just screaming at me that what's really important, as much as we love to go on, and I do this too, okay, no shade, and see and pull cards to be like, what's Putin doing, or what's Leon doing, and all those things. It's time for us to really start to dig into 2025. It's really time for us to start digging into this age of Aquarius. And when the age of Aquarius comes in, it is about the individual first and then the collective. And what's really important that I think we need to think about is this idea of mind control. And so when Pluto was in Capricorn, it brought out this idea of work and how we work and working faster, or everybody was an overnight success. Um, and now with Pluto in Aquarius, we have this AI. Aquarius is known as an air sign, which we represent, which we um, think about with the mind. Capricorn is an earth sign, which we do think about earth and tangible things like work. But air signs is more energy, more vibes, but we also associate it with the mind and logic. I don't know. Which is changing, right? Like this is how we change. This is how the stories change. This is how myths change because we live through them and then we speak about them from our own perspective. So we are in this heroine's journey, or you would be in the hero's journey, right? And so we are in this myth, and now we're in this age of Aquarius. And so it's really important to get out of this idea of mind control. Okay, we know about AI, we know about these, all these things that come in, and they keep us in fear, and they're taking away the things that we do. But most importantly, they're taking away um, our sovereign right, the right that the way that we think. Okay. And this comes in many ways. And this is very interesting that we're talking about this at the beginning of Pisces season, because Pisces rules the 12th house, the house of karma, if you will. A lot of times they call it the house of troubles, but I call it the house of the Great Awakening. Um, the 12th house, because Pisces is the last sign in the zodiac, it has a little bit of each um sign. And so Pisces at its highest self sees what we need to keep from each sign and what we need to let go from each sign, right? In order for us to keep moving forward, to keep that wheel turning, so we can get into that Aries energy of the I am. So Pisces represents consciousness. It is the consciousness of consciousness, right? And before our eyes all start to glaze over, it's really important to see, and I'm going to try to keep this like pretty simple and pretty short, when we fall in and out of our own consciousness, right? When we, just zone out, get glazed over, go into group mentality, go into a fear mentality, all these different ideas. Because right now, Pisces season is going to be a huge season. We got a stellium, we got we've got sorry, my friend's blowing up my phone. It's Mardi Gras. So anyway, we got Pisces season, we got a stellium, we've got Mars. turning direct on the 23rd, so we're already in that energy. We've got Venus going retrograde on March 1st. Um, and then we have Mercury going retrograde, and then in March we will have the eclipses, right? But that's out of Pisces season. But point being, Pisces is this really going to be this gateway into really turning that wheel. And it is so important for us to be conscious. It's so important for us to realize we have control over our own minds. We have control over what we think. I was sitting here this morning being like, where the fuck are all my boomers at? You guys didn't live through the fucking 60s and assassinations and all this shit just to get, you know, this bullshit to happen now, right? Like you didn't go through Vietnam, okay? All these things, right? Only to at the end be derailed by this person. And I think we all know who I'm talking about, are those people, right? And the same thing with people of my generation. You know what I mean? We weren't, raised by parents who went through Vietnam. And then, our generation went to, Iraq and they all have PTSD. We didn't do all that bullshit. We were at a time when like the middle class was up and thriving, right? We know how that feels. We know what it means to get along with people. We know what it means to give each other space, right? You know, Anthrax and Public Enemy were collaborating when we were growing up, right? That's the energy we grew up in, right? It was a lot of fun. And even so, again, we didn't go through all this bullshit just to have our minds taken away, our thoughts taken away, our hearts taken away, to be living in fear, right? And so this Pisces season, this is what I'm calling the Pisces pep talk. Um, it's time. It's time, right? It's time to remember who we are. It's time to remember what we've been through, right? Not to um get down on ourselves about things, but to see what we lived through in order to see where we are now, to see how much we survived, and to be like, forget it. Forget it. We're not, I don't have this idea we're not going back, but like, we're not entertaining any of this shit anymore. Like, enough. Okay. Like, enough. This age of Aquarius really is about remembering ourselves and our uniqueness and how we do and can all get along, right? And it's important for us to see that in our own communities. And if you do not see that in your community, then please get out more in your community, okay? I know flu and all that shit's on the rise, which we'll never hear of because they're taking away all the systems that report this stuff. But trust yourself. If you need to go out, if you need to wear a damn mask. Okay. You know, and if someone starts giving you shit, just tell them to mind their business. Like it's no one's business, right? Like there was a time, a long time in America when we all just kind of got along. I'm not saying it was perfect. I'm not saying it was like a utopia, but we were all okay. Okay, we were all okay. Um and we lived in neighborhoods, we have neighbors, and we would go to events and do things together, and it was fun, right? And I think we really need to remember that and then see what's going on in our communities and then apply that to the real world. Um, Instead of being online all the time, watching stories that are just making us fearful, that really are not impacting our lives. I was talking to my best friend Edwin yesterday, and we were talking about like trans rights and transgender athletes. And out of all the female athletes, how many transgender athletes there are? And there's a handful, quite honestly. And I was telling him, my sister, who's been in education for years and coached the volleyball team for years and now is the athletic director, has never once, and I mean years, we're talking like 20 years, this has not come up, okay? This idea of a transgender athlete has not come up, okay? Yet, everyone's got a lot of emotional reactions to this, okay? Which, again, when it comes to these big emotional, um, I don't know, things, stories, people's lives, we need to talk about it with compassion and empathy and just say, I was like, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I don't know. Because I need it to happen to me in order to make the correct um, decision. Of course, I think everyone should compete in sports, right? Um, how we do it in that capacity, we would have to have a talk. Communities would have to talk, okay? It needs to be a conversation and it needs to be done with love and compassion, and not Fox News or any other news station just freaking the fuck out, okay? Like, we're smarter than that, everybody, and we need to remember this. We've been through hard things. We've had to think our way out of hard things. We've had to feel our way out of hard things, okay? We've been in uncomfortable places where we didn't know what to say or what to do, okay? And we've survived those things. Maybe looking back, you what might have done differently, right? We don't know. But Pisces season is the season to remember what we're conscious about, what is actually going on around us, and not get lost in the fantasy, not get blinded by the illusion, not lose ourselves, right? All this energy is packed into Pisces, excuse me, to help us remember who we are and that power of the conscious, the power of the unconscious, the power of letting go, right? The power of wanting more, the power of being happy with where you are. Um, you know, Seeing where, okay, maybe I was a little bit delusional. All right, cool, right? Not anymore. I got it. There is the actual reality of the day to day, okay? That we need to remember to get back into. And in that reality of the day to day, beautiful things happen, miracles happen, right? Love happens, okay? And we've really forgotten about that, and we've really gotten away from that. And someone who's on a social media platform, I will tell you, I know the importance of not being on social media all the time. I really, really do. And the importance of what it is you're watching on social media all the time. Um, Saturn is still in Pisces. Neptune is still in Pisces. The North Node is in Pisces. That is what we're striving towards, right? And it is um, being conscious, right? That's how we manifest, Scorpio, right? Its ruler, Pluto, is in Aquarius, and Scorpio is being hyper present with your feelings at all time. That's how we manifest. Um, the moon is in Sagittarius today, right? And Sagittarius is at its best when it's out with the people, right? Seeing how others live, seeing what it can take home with it. But, Sagittarius at its highest self is live and let live, okay? And we need to get that back. We need to understand that we do know how to cohabitate with different sexes and religions and ideas and thoughts and I don't know, fashion choices, all those things, okay? That's is not what's tanking your life or tanking the country or anything like that. And there was a time when we really celebrated diversity, and diversity it was great. We loved it. We loved going out, and everyone looked different, and everyone laughed at each other's jokes, and because the human experience is what binds us, right? It's what brings us together, right? And that going into that idea of being conscious of that in this Piscean season, right? And letting go of the idea of the illusion that we're separate, right? Pisces is um water, right? It's mutable, it moves us forward. But Pisces, right? If the idea is the fish and going into that idea of Christianity, right? In love, in the source, right? Well, we can see that in each other because we can see it in ourselves. And then the idea of seeing it in ourselves first, and then it being going forward again, but going back to that idea of this age of Aquarius. So just want to get on here, give everybody a pep talk for Pisces season. It's the first day. You guys want to pull a card? It says the sun's at 2 degrees of Pisces, right? This is going to be a really big season. Oh, the tower. The tower showed itself, my friends. Um, and that's where we are. We need to remember, when the tower falls, it seems scary at first, but then we realize what's been keeping us separated, right? That tower energy a lot of times needs to fall. if it won't fall unless it needs to, and then we can see where we've been keeping ourselves separated and how we need to get back to basis. Shit. And then shit in a good way. And then we have the chariot. Or let's ride. Let's ride, friends. We ride at dawn. I always think that's so funny. Let's ride. The chariot's here. The chariot's saying that tower is falling. We're moving forward. Remember yourself, right? Here's that ace of swords, which goes back to this idea of this age of Aquarius, this new way of thinking, the intellectual thinking with the heart, but also knowing you're sovereign over your own mind. See, look, that's us wearing our crowns, being crowned because we're sovereign. We're sovereign over our own thoughts. You know, just because something's being shown to you, if you don't think it's right or you don't believe it, you don't have to. I just kind of got into I mean, it was going on a little too long, if you ask me, a slight tiff or whatever about a news story. And I sometimes post, I'm not all the time post, but a news story here in New Orleans. And unfortunately, it was a domestic dispute, and the woman unalived, I guess they say nowadays, her boyfriend or spouse, and I didn't think it was really reported very fairly. They only had one side. The woman that they were speaking to, and again, these are just my thoughts. Okay, no one has to agree with them, and that's okay. And I was totally okay with people not agreeing with them. Um, but the way it was presented that this, person that was unalived was this perfect person, and then this woman shot him over breakfast. Okay, not no joke. That's how. And I just said I don't agree with this reporting. I don't think it's very fair. I think it's very one-sided. And Jesus Christ, you should have seen the bag of comments that unloaded. But just, and I have my reasons for that. What the woman said, in all this, and it's okay if you don't agree with that. But my point being in this very long example is that if you don't agree with something, it's okay to speak out. Even if it's presented very well, it was very well produced, there was photos, but I didn't agree with it. I did not agree with it. And I won't get into it, but I didn't agree with it. So it's okay, you guys. It's okay to think and speak, even if something's being presented in a certain way, because we have control of our own minds. Okay, we are sovereign of our own minds. This Pisces season, uh, let's stay conscious, right? And if you're doing things and all of a sudden you're out of your routine, you need to ask yourself, where did I go unconscious? Let's stay conscious this Pisces season. Okay, friends, I'm gonna leave it there. Because apparently I got a hot tip where some gloves are because they have none in the state of Louisiana. And I've got to get on the chariot and ride like the wind to go get some gloves so I can stay warm for this Mardi Gras season. Of course, if you have any questions, please reach out. Or, if you guys just want to say hi, please do that too. Stay warm, you guys. Stay safe. Check in on your neighbors. Be sure you're telling yourself you love yourself every day. Okay, friends, till next time.